What's good, everybody? It's your girls, Queen Koni and Jeid the Jedi, with
Whoop, whoop.
another thought-provoking, highly stimulating conversation. Welcome to Bits of Tea.
Welcome,
Y'all already
welcome.
know what it is. Yeah. Who child?
What?
So,
That was like a waiting to exhale
whew,
moment. It was like, whoo, child.
it,
That was.
for those of you who are new to our
Let's
platform,
get it.
we are here to share perspectives on how we personally process, release, and reframe our trauma and the things that we are working on mastering the art of healing. And we like to come to the table raw and authentic with, the things that we're moving through so that you can gain perspective of what it looks like behind the scenes to integrate with certain concepts and perspectives and to actually get insight on, how the conversation can go.
That part.
Yeah, it's been a wild 2 weeks. It has been.
Has it been 2 weeks already?
I think it's been 2 weeks.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks. I mean, it's already August, y'all. Like it's already August of 2024. We just was in January.
This time thing is messed up.
Is it me or is the time flying by faster and faster each year? Like next thing you know, it's gonna be 2032, and
I
that's
don't
gonna be
think we
weird.
really know what year it is. We just gonna keep it
Well,
moving.
I don't. We're probably not in 2024, but who knows?
That part.
Yeah. So the topic of discussion for tonight is about twin flames. And I know you guys are going to enjoy this conversation because this is a very popular subject. It's a hot topic. Relationships are a thing. And it seems like a lot of people are desiring. Is such a good word, desiring, and maybe even a little desperate to be in a relationship, like seeking love and wanting to be loved. And I get all of that, right? And so we were watching this Netflix series, child, that literally threw me over the edge. I'm livid. We just finished it right before we started this show. We
Started it last night.
I'm livid, honestly, and my mouth is still on the floor. So the show that we were watching was called Escaping Twin Flames. And if you have watched this show and you are watching this podcast, you're joining the conversation, I need you to share your thoughts down below. Let us know your thoughts. What was your biggest takeaways? How did it make you feel? Did you align with it? I mean, it was absolutely absurd. So I wanted to get into that topic.
I was taken aback.
Okay, first of all, let's give the people a little bit of context on
sure.
what this show is about, just in case they haven't seen it.
Just context, that's it.
Yeah, go ahead,
You gotta
take it
watch
away.
it for yourself. Go ahead. You want me to go ahead and give
Yeah, I
some
want you to.
context
Yeah,
to
go
it?
ahead.
Oh man, it's difficult without like giving away spoilers and stuff. So, in a nutshell, it's a story of two people that had a business idea. They come together. They claim to be, experts in relationship and spiritual gurus, etc. And they started an entire empire business
A cult.
off of. I'm not gonna name it that.
That's what they named
but
it on the show.
They did, but
They said it was a cult.
Just an entire just business off of the vulnerability of people, and it started with just relationships. People wanting to be in relationships.
So they called it Twin Flame Universe. And it was basically, child.
Twin Flame
It
Universe.
was basically a digital space or online space where people could invest to learn how to attract their twin flame and how to manifest harmony and love in their life, right? And so this couple were teaching classes on
how to obtain that.
Yeah, how to obtain it, basically.
Yeah.
And their community grew into a cult. I mean, that's just what the people were saying. So it was a docuseries. So they were interviewing the people who escaped the community of the twin flames. And what took me so far aback was how the leaders manipulated and took advantage and is continuing to do so off of people's vulnerability, like the desire and the desperation to want to be in a relationship. And they were coercing these people to do things as far as like changing their identity. Like they were talking about like the divine masculine and feminine, how
We
like
don't come with two of
you don't
them.
come with both of them.
Yeah.
You
It's
are either one
or.
or the other. And so the majority of their community was women, of course. And so in the show, it shows how like they were receiving channeled messages and determining who was the divine feminine, who was the divine masculine. And if you were a woman that they said was a divine masculine, then they were privately coaching you to switch your pronouns, change your name, literally become transgender. And some people went as far as getting surgery and taking hormones. And like these people were separating, the leaders were separating the people from their families and instilling trauma into them with various practices. It was very dangerous. It's very triggering. It was crazy.
An in-depth docuseries that was...
Yeah, it was very intense. It was 3 episodes. It was only 3 episodes, but those 3 episodes were enough, okay? It was more than enough.
But it also just put a bad taste in my mouth for people like using the words like manifest and
spirituality and alignment
and things like that, and
healing.
Then, you know, folks are getting hurt by this, and then like they're receiving trauma from these words. So anybody that's bringing this up in their near future, they're gonna run from it. You know, running and screaming like, "Oh, stay far away, stay far away."
It puts a bad rep on the healers that are in light and in justice and in righteousness, that are actually like empowering people and you know, just sharing awareness on like how to regulate your nervous system and how to be a better person for yourself and others. And so that was the thing. But I think my major... Girl, I'm stuck on this one part, and I know you be looking at me like, girl, but this one part that he said really took me.
Jesus complex.
The Jesus complex took me, but this one took me even further, and it's it's petty. But so there was one clip where he was talking to a couple, right? It was two women, and obviously one of the women was more masculine presenting, and the other one was more femme. And obviously they were they lesbians? I think they were. I think they were legitimate. Yeah, I think they were legitimately lesbians, right? And whatever, they were twin flames or whatever, right? So in their coaching call, the guy Jeff, he's like, "Wait a minute, so you're telling me that you can receive pleasure without a penis? Like, how are you able to receive pleasure without a penis?" I was like, excuse me?
So you like your girlfriend's spiritual penis?
That's what he said.
I was like,
so you like your girlfriend's spiritual penis? Sir, first of all, it's none of your...
It's a boundary.
First of all, it's none of your damn business.
Listen.
Second of all, yes.
Listen, the docuseries is ridiculous.
I'm not even... I was just livid off of that. I'm like, first of all, and I have a lot of experience with penises. And so now that I'm in a relationship with a woman, I can for myself say yes, like I am happy and I'm satisfied. And I'm like, you mean to tell me that you can't receive pleasure without a penis? That is so that's to me, that's absurd. And so that part alone,
there was a lot of psychology, let me tell you, happening within this group and organization.
A lot of narcissism.
A lot of psychology. I'm telling you, people feeling like they know when they're doing wrong and they're still a part of it, feeling like they can't escape. That is psychology. It's just ridiculous.
Oh yeah, the manipulation ran deep. Oh my God, it was so disgusting. And like just how he was talking to them and like treating them in the community. It was really like all those people were in a narcissistic relationship.
Literally.
Like,
it's scary too to really the human and the desire for the human to be in relationship, and then how this group preyed on that and how folks would do anything. Notice it wasn't wanting to be a millionaire. It was like, I want to be in relationship with my forever.
I want to find my twin flame.
I want to find my twin flame and just live life happily ever after. And it's like,
live in harmony.
They literally did what they want, like what they could do to stay in the group, to find this. They changed,
investing all their money.
It was absolutely insane.
Yeah. Getting rid of their relationships with their family and friends. Like they were doing everything that these leaders were telling them to do. And it was so unhealthy. And it was just so toxic. It was just so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So crazy. So if you guys have not watched that
That's
show,
the context.
please watch that show. And that is the premise of this conversation, because we actually want to talk about what it is like when you do find your purpose mate,
Yeah.
right? Your person, the person that you are destined to do life with,
That
or
part.
that you choose to do life with, right? Like the person that, yeah, that's basically it, that you're choosing to do life with.
Yes.
So before we get into the conversation, let's go ahead and just
So you know me. So when things start, like, I'm like twin flame now. After watching the docuseries, because I've heard this terminology before.
I'm gonna give you the phone because
No. I want you to have the phone. Leading up to like that. So I always take it a step further. I'm like, you know what? I want to look up like where the actual term
the
twin
researcher.
flame came from, because now they don't use it all out of context for me. I have to. They're making me think.
Now I
so
gotta do
this is
research.
what Koni is actually gonna read, because I needed to look it up. So
Yeah,
she's
twin
gonna
flame.
read it. Yeah.
And I've never even heard of twin flame until recently. Like that,
Yeah,
that's
it's
a
recent
new term. That's a new
'Cause
thing.
it used to be what soulmate. That's
Soulmate's been out here.
been
Yeah,
out,
soulmates
but
have
it's
been
like
out.
coined from that.
Yeah, it's coined off of that, like
Yeah.
the twin flame. But it's a hot commodity. Like I'm sure if you research on TikTok, which we should do, that you're gonna find a
another
lot of
good one.
information on the twin flame. And then I even had a guest on my interconnected series
You did.
on IG about twin flame.
Check
But
that
she was
out,
amazing.
too.
She was a beautiful spirit. Like that's my girl, Akia, Dr. Akio, and
Yep.
she comes from a clinical background, and so she's integrated with both traditional and non-traditional therapy.
yeah.
And so
dope.
she found her realm within the twin flame journey, and really giving like really good information on what that journey is like. She really talks about the journey of self in relation to that experience versus like you attracting a person and it's all about relationship and sex and all these
Right.
ridiculous ideas that these people were instilling in other people's minds. Crazy shit. The audacity. If I ever see Jeff in the streets, I will let him know my 2 cents and how I feel about it. First of all, mind your business. So let's get into it. So Jeid did the research, and we discovered that twin flame first originated from Greek mythology, from Plato. He first mentioned the idea of twin flames or twin souls approximately 2,500 years ago. In a dialogue, a fictional version of the Greek playwright Aristophanes, where it tells a story about how Zeus split humans into 2 halves. So I'm assuming one human into 2 halves after fearing their power. The halves are destined to spend their lives searching for their other half, and when they find them, they are filled with love, friendship, and intimacy. And as I'm reading this again, you made a comment earlier. You said we wasn't going to go here, but I'm just bringing it up because I'm seeing it in here. And I'm like, oh, that's what you were talking about. Like, it's not about...
This is before the show. I'm just
3 to 5 days
like,
processing time,
right.
y'all. Okay, you just said it. So
I'm just right.
What?
You're like, where the angle you're coming from?
Right, like where are we going down now? Like what other
You gotta go
avenue?
down the rabbit hole.
And he was like, we're not going
We're
there.
not going there.
So yeah. All right, so we're not going there.
No, but
what so I get what you're saying now, just to put it like that. So we may have to revisit
it's an internal thing.
Yeah, it's an internal thing. Like your twin
Not
flame
an
is not
external thing.
It's not an external thing, it's an internal thing. Woo!
Anyway.
That's deep. So that's where the idea of twin flame originated from, according to Google. Okay. And so so we wanted to share the perspective of like the truth behind twin flames, right? Because when you hear about this term, oftentimes people talk about how difficult this relationship is. Like your twin flame, you may have heard, is one of the most difficult relationships that you will ever find yourself in. And let's talk about it, because in the show, it did represent that. Like they were telling these women that the first guy that would hit them up or that they would attract was their twin flame. And these guys were toxic, like drug addicts, bipolar. Like they had severe mental illnesses going on. And they even went as far as telling these women, like, that's your man. You got to do whatever it takes. So even if the guy was putting up boundaries, like, hey, like, I don't feel like I'm your twin flame, it's not going to work. They were encouraging these women to pursue them anyways. As far as like, these women were getting restraining orders. One of them got locked up in jail for a month because they were just being aggressive and like really telling these men that like, you're my man.
It's giving fraudulent.
And the women didn't even feel like they were their men. Like the women didn't even want the man either. But because the leaders were like, this is what we're promoting, and you gotta
Like,
have a
it's
twin
hard.
flame.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be.
Yeah, it's
I'm
gonna be
like,
hard.
not that hard, bro. Come on. Like, are you kidding me? I'm going to jail for this.
I'm not going to jail.
What is wrong? I'm telling you,
it was crazy absurd.
So yeah.
So we want to give perspective on what it's like to have a purpose mate, right?
Yeah.
A twin. I'm doing quotations because that's not my word, but purpose mate is the word that I discovered.
You do,
Somebody
yeah.
that you choose to do life with, but also that is destined for you to fulfill your purpose. That's how I feel about your person, right? That's how I feel about you. And so I do agree with the concept that being in a relationship with your purpose mate, your twin flame, is going to be the most challenging relationship, but not because of the person or the relationship, but because of the healing and the vulnerability that is going to take place within that dynamic. You know what I mean?
And it takes two people wanting to work on themselves and then also the relationship too.
Yeah.
It's not one-sided.
Yeah, it's not one-sided. So,
And
so let's get into it.
In the docuseries, it was one-sided.
It was definitely.
It's not.
And I don't even
like
know
that.
if the people were doing the work. They weren't doing inner work per se, because they were being led by somebody else. So he was telling them what to do the entire time. And every time that they would express how they felt about something, he would gaslight them. He would manipulate them into believing that it was their fault. And then he had them doing this ridiculous
It's a technique. That is actually a
It's
technique.
not his. It's
not
his. It's a real technique.
Or theirs. I'm sorry. It was two of them.
It's a real technique, but they made it toxic. Like, it was called the mirror effect, or the mirroring technique, or something like that, where like if they felt like I'm talking to you, like I feel like you hurt my feelings, and what you said was wrong, and they would be like, you need to mirror that for yourself. Like,
what are you doing wrong? How are you hurting your feelings?
Right. How are you hurting your feelings? Like, do you love yourself? Did you what you did, was it wrong? And it was so toxic. It was so freaking toxic.
They would be coming for the leaders, but he would switch that up real quick, y'all.
Oh my gosh.
Ridiculous.
And he was cussing them out. You dirty little bitch. You dirty little rat. Like, what? And these people are paying thousands of dollars to be a part of this community, to be on these Zoom calls. Okay, Zoom is only $15. Okay, let me not even get into the process. You not even.
We're gonna tell the whole damn docuseries. You keep on messing around,
girl.
So
they gotta watch it.
You gotta watch it.
We can't tell them enough. They have to watch it for yourself. If you have not watched it, please watch it for context. This shit is so toxic, but it's a great conversation, right?
It is. It really is.
And so my idea of like, when you find your person, it is going to be the most difficult relationship, but because of the vulnerability that will take place, that is required, and because of, the processing, releasing, and reframing aspects of the work that we do. When you make a choice to be better for yourself and for others, and you meet someone that aligns with that same value, and you both are doing it together, simultaneously, y'all gonna be going through shit. Like, y'all are really gonna be experiencing OTGs, what we like to call opportunities to grow, when you're triggered, right? There's a catalyst, and you're triggered, and then now you have the opportunity to reframe your thought patterns and your behaviors.
Yeah.
Right? That's basically what an OTG is.
Yeah.
You're gonna have so many of those moments with your person, because with the person, you're going to discover the best version of yourself. With that person, you're gonna be granted the opportunities to discover who you are, after the release. But I feel like also with the person, they're gonna be a catalyst for you to be triggered. And we can't heal without being triggered. That's the thing. We have to be triggered. We have to drudge up that darkness in order to release it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah. If take notes, I'm telling y'all, the stuff that we talk about, we're shifting perspectives. We're sharing with you what we are learning and what we are discovering for ourselves, and the work works. So we're going to now transition into what we've been moving through as purpose mates, right?
Yes.
Some of the hardships that you will face in your relationship with your quote unquote.
And this is ours. Yeah, it's not our story. It's not going to be your story, of course, but these are our experiences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or and challenges too.
Yeah, so. I feel like other people who are in this capacity of a relationship where you feel like you are aligned with your purpose mate or your twin soul, whatever, what is it, twin flame?
They look at you, done mess it
I
up.
just like, because this doesn't align with me. The
word
you,
twin soul,
twin flames, soulmate, purpose mate, whatever you want to label it. If you're in a relationship with that person, and you're watching this show, share your thoughts with us in the comments, right? Like, share the tea, all right? So let's talk about it. Like,
Yeah.
what have you been moving through, babe? Like,
Oh, so like
and I'll share it
there
with me too.
okay, so I'll start with, because in the show, I'm gonna go back to the
We're
show,
referencing the show.
referencing the show. There was a segment in there where there was somebody in, the group, and they were dealing with depression.
Oh my God, this is so important.
And they were reaching out. They needed assistance, and within that, there was no outsourcing at all.
At all.
All right. They just kept on telling this person to do the technique, the
The
mirror
mirror.
technique, the technique. Look at this, look at that. And obviously, it was a cry for help. She needed more. So, long story short, she's no longer with us. And to me, it's like, how can these people not take full responsibility in activating, this within her, or escalating the depression? Because they did nothing, because she was seeking help or
And she
assistance.
was vulnerable with it
And
too.
very, very vulnerable with it in the forums, talking about it. And there was just a smidget on that. So that really hit home, because depression, it hits everybody at some point. But there is the long-term depression that also lingers, right? It comes in waves. That's how I like to describe it. And that's how I would like to describe mine as well, because that's what I move through. And it's just, that's what I've been moving through. I've been moving through waves, ebbs and flows of depression.
Yeah.
Some days I am absolutely awesome, and then there's other days that I'm not. And I have been working through and growing through this for a many years without any type of therapy or traditional therapy or anything. And to be honest with you, 5 years ago, Koni and I, when we decided to, court each other, and then we began to trust each other, we began to be very vulnerable with each other in our stories. That's when my actual healing began to take place. So I haven't been doing this for long. So I have decades of depression that it's like I have been moving through, and I've been doing a great job. I can pat myself on the back from this point, for just having the bravery to talk about it, and also just seeking out resources, because Koni does a really good job. We do a really good job talking to each other. This platform also helps out, but yet there's always a little bit more that is needed for me to break through, this depression. That's what it is. So I've been moving through that.
Yeah, that was beautiful. And I'm glad that you brought that up in the show, because she really had mental illnesses going on, and she made that very clear in the community, and it was overlooked, you know what I mean? And I got caught up in this with Jeid too, and it's like you gave me the perspective of like, it's not always as easy as just making a choice, right? Like, if somebody is continuously making the choice to be better and to overcome these mental barriers, and it's still there and it still has a grip, then it's deeper than just making a choice, right? Like the choice
has been made to be better.
The choice has been made to be better. Exactly. So you can't just tell everybody that's moving through mental illnesses that it's a choice. You just have to make a choice. It takes more than that, and it's deeper than that. And I'm understanding that. I'm learning that now, especially after this last, you call them spirals.
Yeah, it's a spiral.
After the last spiral, I'm like, I didn't realize that I was being a little insensitive, because I see your potential. Like we do this work together, so it's kind of hard for me to see the capacity of your internal struggles when we offer tools and resources to the community that we use at home. And so I can admit that, like, I didn't have that perspective of like, oh, like, if somebody is dealing with something and they're it's getting better each and every time, but it's still there and it still has a grip. It's not that you're not making the choice, is that you need extra resources that, like, we don't have right now, or we didn't have access to. And so just like in the show, this woman, she was in the same position, and there was no advocacy for her. They were still overlooking her mental illnesses, and like, they're not even like accredited or certified or licensed to be offering the support that people need. And they just kept, throwing it back in her face, the mirror, just do this technique, do this one technique, do this one technique. And then she killed herself. She committed suicide. And so those of us that are moving through, mental challenges, or if we are in relationships with people who are moving through mental challenges, it's not just make a choice. It's not just, something that could be overlooked like that. Like, resources need to be sought out. Like, other additional support needs to be sought out. And so, yeah, like you were
So
moving through
I
that.
would say too, because I understand, like, words are power as well. So I finally got a diagnosis, I believe is how you say that. Which I wasn't even prepared for either. So I suffer from the symptoms. I'm going to say symptoms because I can move through these, okay? Because I'm not going to say I have, but I suffer with the symptoms of depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress syndrome, PTSD.
Yeah.
So that was like the final
And I feel like
diagnosis.
a lot of people, especially after COVID, but not even especially after COVID, a lot of people in general in this reality suffer with the symptoms of those things, right?
Yeah.
And it goes undiagnosed and it goes unnoticed, and it just creates more chronic emotional and physical pain. And so you had the courage to actually seek help, and seek help in a way that made me stop and look and be like, okay, this is really not that it was never serious. It's always been serious, but it put another perspective on it for me to like see like, okay, like she needs support in ways that like I am not able to provide.
And she trusts me. She wants to be the supporter in everything.
I do.
And I don't want you to ever feel like you failed at anything either when it comes to me. I don't think you haven't.
No, I don't feel that way.
Okay, good.
I don't feel that way at all.
Good.
I felt relief in knowing that you made the moves that you made to receive the support that like I didn't have, to give. And so there was a sign of relief for me, because like I understood that you needed more support.
Yeah.
For a long time I didn't understand that. I didn't think that you needed any more support than what I was already
you're a
providing.
strong black woman.
Right. Right.
That's what she said. You're a strong black woman. I'm like, yeah, I am, but Lord, I have moments, man.
Yeah.
My moments.
And you know what? And that's like survival mechanism for black women, right? Like we were taught, like,
man,
we were conditioned to believe that we don't
handle
do
everything.
therapy. We got it. Like, what?
What?
As my mother would say, take
Stop
it up with
it.
the Lord. Take it
Lord.
up with the Lord.
Let me stop.
Go into prayer.
What?
And it's like, prayer don't heal the symptoms of depression and PTSD. I mean, it helps, but you need a little bit more tools. Like, you need a little bit more than prayer. I'm like...
Like, and you need anger management classes or something. Shoot, what the hell's wrong with you? What's going on? I'm not angry. Ain't that something? I'm not mad. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes you are.
No, facts,
Oh,
yo.
you know what I'm saying?
Facts. That's
no
hilarious.
judgment, but damn.
Right.
Like-
So like we were saying earlier, when my concept of when you're in a relationship with your purpose mate and you're with your partner, that's going to be the most challenging relationship. That's going to be the hardest relationship, the hardest experience in your life, because of the level of vulnerability that takes place. Y'all, I'm laughing because our friend Ava, our little cousin, girl, she
ready
just
to step on the
she
stuff.
waits until our producer presses play. She's got all her equipment set up, and she literally
She wanna
waits.
lay on it.
She waits until she presses play, and we get in deep to the conversation to when she want to little tinker her bell and walk across us, distract us and stuff. She knows what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
She knows exactly what she's doing. It's so funny. But anyway, girl.
Well, stay right there.
She's too much. But so I believe that concept is true because of, the work that you're signing up to do with somebody else. Like, it takes courage to be vulnerable. But to be vulnerable and to like have your traumas come up to the surface in front of somebody else, that's the hard part. It's not so much the relationship, it's the healing processes or the journey of healing that makes it difficult.
I also think that you have to have one of the persons, could be both of you too, has to have a level of compassion too. Because if you have a level of compassion, you're able to handle, you know,
the heat.
the heat sometimes of what's going on, and just be able to like even reframe your thoughts as a person, be like, you know what, I know this has nothing to do with me, but I'm still around, I'm gonna help this person through it. And the other, you know, and again, it takes two, and then the other person willing to be like, yeah, I do need assistance.
And we both have like taken turns in those realms, right? There've been plenty of times where like I just wasn't having it, and you were more you were the more emotionally intelligent person. Like you were the one to hold space and be like, you know what, I'm not going to take offense. I know that this is not directed towards me. I'm not taking it personal. And I know that you're moving through something right now. There's been plenty of moments where like you've been in that position, and I'm like, don't touch me. Like I'm just like moody. I'm just like, I'm not here for you. Like I'm just not here. And you had that compassion for me, and then, you know, of course, vice versa. I've also been moving through some you know, really deep things as well. So while you were moving through your waves of depression, I was moving through having the courage to speak my truth in relation to some of my trauma, which, you know, stems around molestation, right? And just like, you know, it's not just the trauma that we experience, but it's also the response of family members and people around you that may have participated in that trauma. And so it's psychological, you know, the things that we go through. People don't realize that it's not just physical, it's mental, it's spiritual, it's emotional, it's layers to the things that we move through when we talk about chronic emotional and physical pain. And so in a relationship with your person, you're uncovering all those layers.
Yeah.
It's not just one layer, right? And so that's where it gets difficult, because when you're triggered, you're immersed in fight or flight. Like you're in fight or flight.
Period.
Number one.
Period.
Like you're in fight or flight. And then like you're in survival, right? So your thought patterns, you know, your behaviors, everything is tied or contributed to from those lens.
Yep.
And the work that you do with your person is undoing that. It's literally process. It takes courage to process, to become aware that there's even something there to work on, to acknowledge your hand in that, like what actually happened, to observe everything, like how and why things transpired, and then to make aligned choices and solutions that support your overall well-being. That takes courage to do that. But then to do it with another person, like that's not easy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard for people to cry. It's hard. It was hard for me to pass gas in front of you at one point.
That's
like
ridiculous.
it was like
I was off rip doing it. It didn't matter.
I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom just to
really?
fart. So it's just like that's real, but that's
it
what
is
I'm saying.
real.
Like it's vulnerable. You got to be vulnerable in these relationships,
There's
and
some
that's
people
what makes
that
it
don't
hard.
take their makeup off.
Girl, that
they
was
sleep
me.
in their
I used to
makeup,
sleep
yo.
in my eyebrows. Remember?
It's like, wow, yeah, you did.
I was like, girl, you will never see me without my drawn on eyebrows. If I die before you, you better draw my eyebrows on right. Like you need
Silly.
to learn how to draw my
Nah.
eyebrows on. But that's how serious it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's what makes it difficult, like to me in these relationships, the vulnerability piece. And so what I've been moving through, just as you're moving through your waves of depression,
it's
I was
ridiculous
moving
how that
through.
goes.
I was
Yeah.
moving through the releasing aspects of my trauma and having the courage to like speak about it with certain family members, and even like facing one of the people who were involved in this trauma, who we've never had this conversation before. And I had the courage because somebody else had the courage to speak about what they were going through.
Yes.
I had the courage to speak about what I was going through. And I just, you know, I
That
felt
was a snowball effect.
I felt inspired to advocate for myself and for the other party. You know what I mean? And so as I'm moving through that, and it is a snowball effect, right? Like things are happening, conversations are being had.
That part.
It's happening simultaneously on both ends. And so we're both having to hold space for ourselves individually and for each other.
Yeah.
And that shit is hard. I ain't gonna lie. It's hard.
Yeah, because it was like we both, you know, in the instance wanted to be like held and wanted to be, you know, and it was difficult.
Yeah, it's like you needed me to hold space for you, and I needed you to hold space for me. And like we really, neither of us really had the space for each other. We had enough space for ourselves, but we didn't have that much space for each other just because everything was happening simultaneously. And when I say like I'm talking to like the day is full of conversation and movements pertaining to these instances that are happening, like her waves of depression and my, you know, and my releasing of this, you know, this trauma that took place in my life. And so the day was full. by the end of the day, we're exhausted. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, like physically tired, emotionally drained
Yeah.
because of all the movements that's taking place. Like you having to go to certain appointments while I'm on the phone with certain people in regards to this trauma, and like phone call blowing up and just conversation after conversation and just so much.
Yeah. I was overwhelmed too because it was just like a lot of information all at one time.
Yeah.
And I knew that like you were going through your process, yet I felt alone. It was like, damn, like, okay, well, what do I do?
Yeah.
I guess I'll just waddle in it and start crying or do something crazy.
And it's interesting that you felt that way because you would always say this, like and I would say it too, like it's always all about you. And I've been holding a lot of space for you for a long time, and not holding space for myself. And I just started holding space for myself recently, and I started being more vulnerable about like what's going on internally. And so I could feel how you felt that way because it's like I need to hold space for myself too, more often. Like I'm here for you, but I also need to be here for myself, and I need you to be here for me too. And so finding that balance in our relationship, it is difficult. But like you said, like having that compassion and I guess just having like a mutual understanding of what it is. I think our non-negotiables help us and support us too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like having a non-negotiable of
we're still like really green in our relationship. When I say green, it's just like early on. Like we're still getting to know each other.
Yeah,
every day.
We've known each other for 5 years.
Yep.
We've been we've known each other for 5
years, and with like 20 plus years of information.
We done collapsed 20 years of time.
20 years of time. But then as we like embark on these new versions of ourselves, we're still learning each other because we're forever changing and we're forever evolving into like different people, which is better people.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we're green in our relationship only because we came to the table already like working on ourselves.
I'm saying that in the world of years, like we've been together for 5, married for 4. Mm-hmm. So in relationships, what we experienced early on, people are experiencing that in their 10th year or something. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like we're green. It's not a bad thing because we're experiencing it early on in our relationship, right? Like I said, we collapsed 20 years of time.
Yeah, we collapsed time. Yeah. The things that we've come across and that we've overcome.
Said it backwards probably, but
I probably understood it backwards because you know me, I'm like I see things a little backwards sometimes. But we collapsed time. So the things that we've overcome and that we've already faced, people are facing in like their 10th, 15th year of marriage. We did it in like the first 5 years. And so I see what you mean with that. And I'm honestly grateful. I'm grateful that we actually went through this hell. No, with each other, for real.
Really, it wasn't.
It's not hell, but it's the disorder of hell. So let's talk about that real quick. So I was watching this YouTube video, and this guy's Nero
University
in it, and he's super dope. He's obviously a scholar. Like he is very intelligent and just knowledgeable. And so he was breaking down heaven and talking about like how to manifest, right? But he broke down verses in the Bible, and there was this one verse that we all know. It's like, seek first the kingdom of God, and then all these things will be added unto you. And so seeking first the kingdom of God, he was explaining the kingdom of God is heaven, and people think that heaven is this cosmic geological area, right? Like it's in the sky somewhere. And he was like, and I agree with this perspective of like, heaven is a state of mind. It's internal, it's within you. And so heaven are the frequencies of like serenity, peace, joy, happiness, bliss. And then the highest frequency is enlightenment. And so oftentimes, like we are born into the disorder or the chaos of hell, which are the lower frequencies of like guilt, shame, resentment, anger, right? Like pain, like all those lower frequencies. And it's our duty or our obligation to transcend those lower frequencies. Like we were born into it. So he wasn't saying that like it's our fault that we're in these lower frequencies. But what he was saying is that it's up to us to get out of those frequencies, and so that we can be in the higher frequencies of heaven, and that seeking first the kingdom of God, and then all these things will be added unto you. Being in heaven, the frequencies of heaven, is the only way to magnetize and to manifest your desires, which I agree, because when you're in those higher frequencies, you're an energetic match, you're a perfect match for your desires. Your desires are on the frequency that are higher, higher than guilt, shame, and unworthiness, and all those lower frequencies. And so I don't know where were we going with this.
Where were you going with this?
What was we just talking about? I don't
Master
know.
Koni? Master Koni, where were we going? With this information.
I have no idea.
You said it for a reason.
I did, but what was we just
We were
talking
talking
about?
Are
you listening to me?
I'm listening to you. I get lost in the words. I get lost in the words because I'm like, dang, I got something else to piggyback off of that. I didn't forgot what we was talking about before that, but I needed to touch on something else right now.
What was it?
Because we was finna go into tangents. This is what happens, but it's all ties in.
It all ties in.
Yeah.
It all
So we
ties
was talking
in.
about our relationship.
Yeah, we were talking about the relationship, and I don't know where we were going with the frequencies or heaven. Oh,
Boom.
I got you. Because we were saying that. Because I was saying that I'm glad that we went through this hell, and you was like, well, I wouldn't consider it hell. And I'm like, okay, well, I said hell because we were transcending those lower frequencies. That's why I was saying I was grateful. There we go. I was saying that I'm grateful that we actually went through those processes now. Because we had to, like, we needed to, we signed up for it. We said we wanted to heal and we wanted to be better. And so to heal is to do the work, is to allow ourselves to feel the pain, the suppressed trauma and information in our bodies, and to get it out, right? So the last 5 years has been that for us. We've been mastering the art of healing. We've been diligently processing, releasing, and reframing mother and trauma.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now we're stepping into the embodiment of, like, who are we now that we've crossed those barriers? And so you mentioned the other day, you suggested that we start dating again and we get to know each other again from this point. And I thought that was so beautiful because I'm like, damn,
I still believe in that.
Me too. And I thought that was so beautiful of, like, yeah, like, we are in such a different space right now. We've overcome so much, and we just went through one of the biggest transitions of our lives.
Yeah.
Over the last, if you haven't peeped episode 1, we caught everybody up on what we've been moving through. We literally experienced, eviction and, like, having to live in our practice and, all the things, right? So we are moving through one of the largest transitions of our lives. And we are both in our peak 9 year, which is the closing and the ending of cycles. And so I thought it was just so perfect that you felt that way and that you suggested that we actually get to know each other now after we've done all this work. And now that we are seeking additional support, like therapy and, community, and allowing ourselves to be loved by those around us that we love and trust and are getting to know. I thought that was beautiful. And so to go back to the heaven and hell perspectives, that's what I meant by, like, it felt like these last 5 years we were moving through hell. Not like literally, like, we had a good time. It was a lot of great moments. But we were...
Hell be fun sometimes.
Hell do be fun sometimes. Some fun. But yeah, so now I feel like I know for sure I can feel my frequencies raising. Like, I can feel me going back into the frequencies of heaven because I feel inspired again. Like, I've been writing again. I'm now looking forward to aerial yoga again, and I'm looking forward to feeling good more often, and rebuilding everything, and just I'm excited again. And so that's how I can tell that, like, I'm on my way back into the frequencies of heaven. And I also see doors opening too, like, us getting the positions that we got. I just got off a call today with another collaboration opportunity for us.
Trickling
couple more.
in.
She said the opportunity is trickling in, y'all.
It's a running joke. I gotta watch the other episodes.
Trickling in.
They trickling in. Shoot. Just saying.
God looking at you like this damn child.
There's always one.
There's always one. So yes, I'm seeing the opportunities trickle in.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I'm getting excited again. And I feel like you are too. Like, you're in a much better space. And every time you move through these OTGs with, this depression, you get stronger and stronger, and you get faster and faster, and you get better.
Just, for me, the biggest piece is looking for the gem in it. Like, what am I looking, like, what is here that I need to pay attention to?
Yeah.
Like, what is it?
And you looking for your flowers
So
too. You said, where my flowers
yeah,
at?
yeah. Like, I'm looking for my
Where my
flowers, bro.
flowers
Because I
at?
just be looking at stuff like universal law ain't lying, yo. Like, come on, bro. Like, I've been doing the work
justifiably.
for a very, very long time, and that's what it is. So yeah, there's always something in it that I need to more, like, look into and process over whatever. I'm not gonna. It's not a marathon. Okay, so I'm just taking my time with it.
Yeah.
And this is my first time ever really, in these 4 years really sitting with it, because I've been preoccupied my time with busy work. Just put it that way, just being busy, but actually sitting with it, and just not, instead of brushing it off. Because before, when you feel things, you go through things like, the first thing we do
distraction.
Let's distract. Nope, we ain't got time for that. Let's get into something. Boom, boom, boom. And then we start doing that whole thing, being distracted by our work, a lot of things. So we're not sitting with it. So these past 5 years, I've had the opportunity to sit with it. I was being judgmental about it at first because it was just like, I'm done with it. But now it's just like, it's not a marathon. The world makes you feel like you got to reach peaks at certain ages and certain things. You got to have this at certain stages of your life. And, you're just running a marathon. And when you don't have or meet that criteria, it's like, damn. So now I'm just taking out the time to be like, I'm going to take my time with all of it and not rush the process, and just like move through it and allow myself to feel no judgment on me.
Right.
It's, no hardships on you, not trying to be, take you through stuff, but it's just like, it's my process. I have to go through my process. Yeah. So yeah, there's some jewels in it, some things that I could look into. So yeah,
definitely
it lightens up as the day comes. As every day it gets lighter. Because I don't choose to stay in it. Right. I'm just allowing it to lift. I'm allowing myself to move through those processes. And I wanted to talk to you about the heaven and hell thing too. So we're gonna go back to that with the lower frequencies. So to piggyback off another episode or another, because by the same guy, he was talking about also when, we always talk about how we're born into the trauma, right? We talk about that stuff though too, but look at it in the aspects of when we're coming into the world, right? And we're wanting to manifest or be on these higher frequencies, we are stuck almost in those lower frequencies that our ancestors had been in.
Child.
So we're not just carrying,
traumas from this reality.
We're not carrying like a Dora backpack with all the information.
Not the Dora backpack.
Backpack.
Right.
We don't have that. We are carrying shit. Like
shipment
a lot
containers full.
Like containers full, because the DNA is full of it. So we're still holding on to the lower frequencies of what our ancestors have. So we're having to move and work through that to get to our heaven, because we've been in their hell. If they've progressed, they have. I can't sit there and be like they hadn't did shit, right? But no, there was the golden. Our parents were quote unquote the golden child because they had the golden children. So they've made as much progress as they were going to make. In their timeline, had us. So now we are being the catalyst. We're taking it to the next level.
We took the baton,
and we're having to now be in those lower frequencies. Their thought processes, whatever was going on in our parents' when we were in our parents' stomach, and whatever thought processes was happening, whatever arguments they were going through with their spouses, all that stuff, the DNA, it's all in there. So we're already coming with those lower frequencies. Like we were born in hell. We're taking on those frequencies. So we're battling ourselves.
That is wild.
The entire time to get to our heaven. My mother was more than likely depressed. I'm dealing with shit that she's carrying with my grandmother.
Ooh.
Grandmother was depressed. They didn't have the terminology. Right. I have that already in my DNA. They're talking about suicide. That's somebody in my timeline.
Yeah.
Was carrying that in their DNA. How am I going to have the knowledge to do these certain things?
Right.
I'm a country kid. I'm not inside watching TV all the time. I'm outside. This shit is far from me.
Yeah.
So I'm carrying those frequencies with me. I'm carrying anxiety with me. I'm carrying post-traumatic stress syndrome with me, honey, because if we take it back to the, slave times,
that's real.
Our ancestors were enslaved.
Right.
That's PTSD.
That's so real. And you know what? We are aware. I'm so glad that you brought that up, because we are aware that, like, when the the trauma that our ancestors didn't get the opportunity to heal
Phew.
transfers to the next generation.
Yo.
Like, we're automatically born into this reality with automatic negative thought
And the
patterns.
Matrix knows that.
And that is what you're talking about right now. And so for us to be moving through these processes of PTSD, anxiety, depression, these symptoms, and overcoming mental barriers, it's not ours. It's really legitimately not ours. We're carrying it from generations past. And that's important to know, because if you are in a situation right now where you are feeling like you're having a mental break, right? And you have the awareness that this is not just yours, like this is generational, it kind of takes the weight off you. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of takes a little, because when you're in it, you feel like it's you. You feel like your depression is lying to you, and you feel like it's my fault. I'm unworthy. It's the things that I didn't do, or I should have, I could have. And the whole time it's like, no, baby, like this is the trauma from your great grandmother. You know what I'm saying? That she never got the chance to heal. And so you're the golden child now that is having to clean up all of this for our family members and for ourselves and for our children.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah. And then that's what makes it so difficult, because you are carrying so much
carrying
stuff.
So much weight.
That's the reason why in the Black and brown community, like, we can relate so much with our trauma. There's not one Black or brown person that you would talk to that says that they have not been brought up in church.
I'm telling you.
There's not one Black or brown person that says they have suffered from, like, not having a meal. Living in the most impoverished ways. Yeah. Having to see their mom do all the work. They weren't around because they had to feed the family. Or the father was not around. Like, the story, like every Black and brown person you talk to, there is a similarity in the story. That's how you know it's affecting the DNA. Yeah. The stuff that we are coming through. We're all talk about it. And we could talk about, our grandmother could tell us stories, the same story that our great grandmother could tell the story, our grandmother could tell the story, our mom could tell the story, we can tell the story. Yeah. It's very similar. Like, our daughter won't have those same stories. Right, exactly. Don't have them same stories. Because we're doing the same music. The story doesn't match. It doesn't have. They don't have. Because we're cleaning it up. From our generation back. Did you go to church Sunday, Monday through Friday?
Did you have choir rehearsal on Wednesday or Thursday? Did you have Bible study? Like, it's so interesting. Yeah, and the choir director being gay. Come on.
There's like so much in that. Like,
that's so interesting.
You're from New York. I grew up in Kentucky. We have the same story.
Yeah, and if you have the same story and you're a person of color, let us know in the comments. Like, share your thoughts with us.
But that's what, if you look at TikToks or Instagrams and the comedians that are on there, what are they talking about? Church.
Yeah, the same thing.
Same thing. They're talking about they have those funny memes where, when you used to get beat, you laughing at pain. When you used to get beat as a child, so you taking on the role, and they coming in and they the parent, and they whooping, just doing the whole thing.
It's
like,
very
it's
similar.
The same things. Yeah. That's the reason why I'm like, that's an agenda. Like, that's some type of, it's just like I don't know what you want to call it, but we all have it. We all have it.
Yeah, we're all working through it.
We're all working through it and moving through it and breaking through that. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it. Like, that was good. On that tangent to say, like, a lot of the shit that, we do go through, there is some type of substantial DNA, ancestral things that are happening within it.
Absolutely. And I want to tie that all up with this saying, like, not saying, but my friend Lola, shout out to Lola, our sister. She sent me this reel, whatever, right? And this guy was talking, he was next to his branch, right? And the branch had fruit on it, but the branch was bent. And so he was like, you guys, like, I just had, he came to this realization. He was like, sometimes when the branch is bent, like nearly broken, it's not because of the storm. Sometimes it's bent because it's bearing fruit. Like, the fruit is getting ready to drop, and the fruit is so heavy and so ripe that it's bending the branch. And so sometimes, like, when you feel like you are nearly broken, or you feel like bent, like you finna break, it's not because you're going through a storm. It's because of the fruit that you're getting ready to bear, and that fruit is the blessings. And so I feel like I aligned with that. It was so beautiful, because that I've been feeling like we've been bent, especially the last 2 years, experiencing the things that we've been experiencing. I mean, the last 5 years, really, but
our
especially
entire lives.
Our entire lives.
What do you mean?
3
this
decades.
Other stuff is just a continuation.
You're right.
Of the shit that we've been growing through from childhood up until now.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes. So that was the conversation for tonight on twin flames and the
Yeah.
truth behind it and what it really looks like, on the inside. And we are so excited to be back on Bits of Tea, sharing these conversations with y'all. We would love for you guys to join our community. We have a Facebook page called Bits of Tea. We're going to leave all the links in the show notes. We have a beautiful online community that we are creating called Sacred OASIS Collective, where we're going to be having more exclusive content, more exclusive conversations, and a whole bunch of goodies within that container. And we have, for those of you who are in the Tampa Bay area, we do offer therapeutic massage, hypnotherapy, shamanic Reiki, a whole bunch of resources for your overall well-being. The links, again, are going to be down below if you're interested. Connect with us on all major platforms so that we can continue to share the tea. And if this conversation aligned with you, if you enjoy it, please share, like, and subscribe.
Yeah, do all that stuff. The digital products too.
All the links, all the digital products. We have so many beautiful things that we've created from, moving through this process of healing that we have to offer. So, anything else?
No, it's been a great conversation. I didn't know exactly where we were going to go with it, but it actually did it very well.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Begin the day with love.
Fill the day with love.
End the day with love. Peace.